3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Queen Stage. We're here to spotlight the athletes, stories, and action in women's cycling, giving the sport the attention it deserves. And we're going to do so with the quality, depth, and personality the sport demands.
I'm Rosael Davis.
I'm Betsy Welch.
I'm Marije Rüegg.
And I'm Molly Herford.
Hello and welcome to Queen Stage. I'm your host, Marije, and today I'm joined by Rosael and Betsy.
Hello.
Hi, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's stage 1 day. It's Grand Depart.
We all got our shirts on, got my nails done already.
So, stage 1, it is officially in the books. We have been waiting for this day, this moment for the 2026 Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift to begin. Today, we will start doing what we do, which is breaking down all of the action, who did what, who's wearing yellow, what we think might happen tomorrow. It was a great first stage, in my opinion. 138K, starting and ending in Lausanne, Switzerland.
Yeah, and it feels so good to be back and be underway and to bring you daily coverage of the biggest race in the calendar. We're really proud to have Bike Tires Direct and SHRAM as our presenting sponsors. They are true champions of women's cycling, and their investment in the sport really is what makes this show possible.
Spot on. It's the kind of direct investment in independent coverage and women's sports that help elevate the entire cycling community. And before we dive into stage 1, make sure you're subscribed, leave us a review, and send your questions to info@queenstage.cc or find us on queenstage.cc on Instagram and Threads or in our new WhatsApp community.
We are also running a daily giveaway throughout the entire tour. We're giving away one Queen Stage Musette packed with goodies brought to you by Zwift and Bike Tires Direct. So, Rüegg, I think you have one of these musettes with you. Can you show us what's in it?
Here's the musette.
Yes, let's unpack it.
Royal blue. Let's see. We've got 2 Bike Tire Direct water bottles.
Very nice.
Nice and big for these hot days. A very coveted Watch the Fam cap. I know a lot of people have been asking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people have been asking how to get these. So if you win this prize package, you can get one.
What else?
Very cool. An electric pump. Dead useful.
Oh man,
I want one of those.
I've been having my eye out on one of those, so that's exciting.
And we've got a packet of goodies with, let's see, stickers. And now what is this called? A wallet?
That is a rain wallet.
A rain wallet.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Gen Z is going to remember that, but it's super useful.
Yeah, you put your little cards in. Out here in the Pacific Northwest, you definitely need something to keep your money, your key, and your bank cards dry. So that's what that's for.
Absolutely. All kinds of things you can keep dry in there. Just wink, wink.
So in order for you to win this, the What's in Your Musette giveaway, and we're going to do one every day. It's super simple. Head over to the Instagram, queenstage.cc, find today's Stage 1 highlight post, and drop a comment saying Bike Tires Direct and tag 2 your friends for a chance to win.
And don't forget that you can also save 10% at biketiresdirect.com using the code QueenStage. That directly supports us and what we're doing. And like Rosael mentioned, we also just launched our Queen Stage WhatsApp community. You can head to the link in our Instagram or the podcast show notes to join us for tomorrow's stage. We've been having a ton of fun in this chat. I have to admit, it's really fun to be stoked amongst others who are stoked about this race. And
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, as journalists too, I think this is where sometimes we get scoops. Someone could just be bantering and it's oh God, we didn't know that. Cool. Tell us more. So anyway, join us. It's fun.
All right. There's so much to cover from our opening day in Switzerland. Let's get right into the episode and talk about who took the first jersey in Lausanne. Betsy, take it away.
All right. Well, I'm just going to answer that question straight away because that's easy. And that was none other than the GOAT sprinter, Lorena Wiebes. We'll come back to her because that's kind of the end of the stage. But yes, we have our first rider in yellow who took the stage. This is our GC podium at the moment. Lorena Wiebes, Kim Lacourt from AG Insurance Sudal in second, Demi Vollering from FDJ United Suez in third, Puck Pieterse, Phoenix Premier Tech 4th, and Noemi Rugg, EF Education Oatly 5th.
I didn't see Puck all day. I was so surprised to see her in the results. I was like,
totally.
Where did she come from?
Nor did the commentators, to my knowledge, mention her name.
Yeah, I'm also shocked by all if you look at the top 10, all the GC contenders basically were there.
Totally.
And I was
they
not
were so
expecting
protective.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, seeing Demi Vollering, being the last person on the attack on the climb, you're like, what is she doing here? You're not supposed to see her until, the mountain stages.
Yeah,
Pauline,
it is also nice to see
it
is nice to see a Swiss rider, Noemi Rüegg, in the top 5, because I was kind of hoping that a Swiss rider would win today's stage.
Yeah, happy Switzerland Day.
That is true.
I won't go through necessarily the podiums for the jerseys, but I will mention who has each one after today. So the points jersey, the green jersey is Wiebes, obviously. The QOM polka dots goes to a rider we're going to probably talk a lot about today, Océane Mahé. Sorry, my French, not great. And then in white for the youth is Paula Blasi. Yeah, favorite of some of our hosts here.
Yes. And I was also wondering where Paula Blasi finished. So interesting to see that.
Yeah, we only saw her for a bit in the cars when she was making her way back. So to see her finish that strongly was good to see.
Also, Elisa Longoborghini and Paula Blasi need to have a sit down and be like, who's the leader? Because it's we're getting contradicting information. But also, sometimes this can be on purpose too. They just want to throw people off or something.
They made it very clear in their interviews. Paula was like, this is not my race. It's not, we're going to go for Elisa Longoborghini. She's already won 2 Grand Tours. She's got the experience. Paula's like, I'm here to gain experience. Of course, we heard that before by a certain Pauline from Provaux last year when she said, I'm just here to gain experience. And she got a lot of experience in that yellow jersey. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, it could be that. It could be just that she's lowering the expectations just out of respect to maybe Elisa Longoborghini, out of respect that this is the last season in that team. Then she's going to be moving on to Movistar. And just being realistic, it's her first time. She could, there's so many ways that things could go wrong. And
And
I will say, go ahead.
Just I feel like you can have a plan and that's great. And sometimes it goes accordingly, but oftentimes, what if Paula Blasi, what if Elisa Longoborghini starts to feel like crap, or as she said, she hasn't finished 3 of the 4 races, so of the tours.
Yeah.
So who knows? I think that's also one of the really exciting things about this race and bike racing in general is it can be super surprising about what happens and who's feeling good on the day.
Yeah. I will say one of the things that kind of bothered me in the run up this last week in all the interviews is that all our favorites were kind of backing out. Not in terms of I don't want to win this, but in terms of the don't put any pressure on me. I think Pauline said, I've already won this. This won't change my life. Elisa Longoborghini is just I just would like to finish one. Everyone was kind of putting the pressure off themselves, and which is good for their mental game, I'm assuming. But I'm also I just want one of the ladies to go out and be like, I want to win this damn thing.
Yeah.
Just say it as it is.
Huh.
No, yeah, it is true. Point. And is it year 5 sort of we're growing into this race and it's there's more of a caginess maybe about it. Who knows? Anyway, if we don't get into this stage recap, we're gonna just
go in.
And I can already tell you guys keep me on track here because 138 kilometers, not the longest stage, but still a long-ish stage. It was kind of easy to say it was one for the sprinters, and ultimately it was, but it wasn't a straightforward sprint stage. There were some climbs that ended up being really consequential in breaking up the break, essentially. Anyway, Wiebes was favored. Wiebes won, but it wasn't, I don't think it was a sure thing all day.
No, that looked crazy. The last 10 kilometers to me looked insane.
Yeah, the 2 climbs. Can you tell us about them, Betsy? Because they ended up, as you mentioned, very consequential. The climb that brought the breakaway back was so
I think it
detrimental
was
to a lot of
the one
riders.
with 55K to go, the Côte des Viars Le Comte. It was 4 kilometers long. Riders were dropping off the back.
And not just any riders, like riders you wouldn't
like legit
expect.
riders.
Shikini, Lucinda Brandt, Isabella
God,
Holmgren, Francie Koch. Like,
yes. And that also, I think, was where Rook, help me with the name, Rianne Marcus?
Rihanna Marcus, yeah.
She attacked. And that was where, like, Koch and Brand and Isabel Holmgren got dropped. Anyway, look, here we are. I'm already jumping to like the end of the race. But anyway, I mean, it was a hot day, very hot in Switzerland. Everyone comes to the start line with those big ice vests on. We just know it's hot in Europe anyway. Yeah, hot, humid. So I think this stage kind of started as we may have expected, with lots of little attacks from the smaller teams, which is one of my favorite things about early in the race. You have these teams that are just like, hey, what do we have to lose here? And
in that sense, it was really textbook. It felt like really professional. Like, let the breakaway get like 4 or 5 minutes. We have it calculated. There's these 2 savage climbs that come a little later, and we'll reel them up just like that. And they did it. That's exactly what they did.
That's exactly what happened. So with 125K to go, we have these 4 women that attack, form a breakaway that, I mean, stuck for a long time and grew to be quite big. But that was Maud Reinbeck from Volker Wessels, Idoia Erausquin from Laboral Custa Fundación Escudí, Nikola Nosková from Cofidis, and Océane Mahé from Ma Petite Entreprise. And these 4 women went, and they went for a long time. I mean, I think at one point the gap was like 6 minutes.
Yeah. And at least it was fun to see the competition for the polka dot jersey, because at least like that was a hard fought fight. And this rider that now we're obsessed with, Océane Mahé, like really feisty rider. So it'll be fun to see him defend that jersey.
Yeah, that was super fun. And how cool for that very, very small French team, Ma Petite Entreprise. Rook was saying before we started recording, like, this is huge for them. Like, this is gonna, now we know them. Now we know their name. I mean, I was on their website, and they're sort of like, they're so small that they're like, become a sponsor of our team, or like,
pledge to my team. Yeah.
Pledge to our team. You can set up a monthly deposit from your bank account. So
the thing is, you sometimes see these teams, they get the nomination, which is huge to even get to start at the tour. And then you just see one rider after another just drop out until there's like 1 rider left. And you're like, well, do they deserve to be here? Ma Petite Entreprise was like, we deserve to be here. Look at us go. I'm going to be in the breakaway. I'm going to be in the screen camera time all the time. And you know what? I'm going to take the first jersey and get a podium out of the day. Like, they did it just beautifully. They put so much excitement around not just the riders, but the team in general, this small program in France for the, a French race. They delivered.
Yeah, and also Alison Jackson tried to breach to the breakaway. Yeah. So I think she must have thought that the breakaway did have a chance.
Yeah, and have fun, of course. No. Everybody loves.
No,
she just wanted TV time too.
Well, yeah, because she rides for Saint Michel Preference Home Aubert 93, the team that last year got the very last ranking in the tour. They're also a French team, and they're looking at Ma Petite Entreprise and they're like, darn, we should be doing this.
That should have been us, yeah.
And so that's what she was doing. And I don't know if you saw the clip of her descending, and she was doing a little fingers crossed to the camera. Yeah. Like, she's the, embodiment of an entertainer, entertaining in the middle of the bike race.
That makes more sense, yeah.
Yeah, she got close. She was close. She was like at one point 20 seconds, but didn't get there. Yeah, and kind of, midway through the stage, it was kind of felt like there was like a standoff in the peloton. It was like, no one is making any indication that they're going to do anything, which is always funny because it's easy to think like, well, that's it. The break's going to go. Like, this is it. How, this negative racing. And of course it doesn't pan out that way. Like, these women know what they're doing, and they made us wait. And it was very, very exciting. Anyway, so
there was a breakaway.
There was a breakaway. Jackson got caught. What do I have here? Charlotte Kool took the immediate sprint at 60K to go. That was good to see her like there. where did she end up in the sprint? Anyway, 13th. Anyway, sorry.
She got 13th in the end?
Yeah.
Impressive. I wasn't sure how she was going to handle herself.
In the points, not in the GC. Okay. Yeah, so those kind of like middle climbs started really like kind of blowing things up, I would say. But that break was still up the road, although the gap is shrinking. At 35K to go, there are only 96 riders in the peloton, a chasing group of 45 riders, and the gap just progressively smaller. At 25K to go, it was like a minute and a half. Then we get back to sort of the lake and the urban environment. There's more, not road furniture. What do you call the like things that are actually in the road? Is that road furniture?
That's road furniture. That's the definition of road furniture.
Okay. I didn't know if road furniture was like, I didn't know if it was like barriers and stuff that like
got it. Yeah.
No, it's like roundabouts and anything to maintain traffic.
Yeah. So very sketch, in my opinion, whenever we go by road furniture.
Someone in our group, like side tangent, but someone in our WhatsApp community pointed out there's no officers at these intersections, and normally you see them, waving their flags in the middle of the roundabout or at one of these furniture intersections, and that was interesting that they didn't have that. Was it because it was a national holiday? What was going on there? Like normally they're there flagging you, like, hey, go left or right, but they didn't have that today.
Switzerland, I don't know. I also just felt like the scene out there was significantly more subdued than when the stages are in France. Again, is it because it's a holiday? Is it just because Swiss folks are a little more subdued?
But they did not disappoint when it came to the art that we saw in the fields.
Yeah,
there was some
cool.
really detailed stuff that I've never seen that level. Very cool.
Yeah, that was cool. I'm just remembering that. So that group of 4 women, like, who stayed very together the whole time until about 20K to go. And then you had Nikola Nosková, the Cofidis rider, who was the last one standing out there. Like an incredible ride from her too. I don't know much about her. Do you guys?
No, she's had some strong performances here and there. Being on a smaller team, we don't hear from them quite as often. But yeah, she had an incredible ride today. And later, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but she, ended up getting joined with Amanda Spratt, who went on a long attack as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then it kind of felt like things got real fast. And this is when, we started to see all of the GC riders moving up, like quite like, I don't know. I think it's just so impressive. I know you guys have raced and like maybe it wasn't any more special than any race, but it's so freaking cool how they have a plan. I couldn't see it, midway through the race. I couldn't like picture what was actually then going to happen with 10K to go. And it happens. And there they are. And there's PFP and there's Demi and there's Kasia. And they're all just like, getting up there.
It's like we're entering the 10K zone. I think there was like, 8Ks to go. This tiny little breakaway knows they're going to get reeled in. They're 10 seconds ahead. Yep. The peloton is calm, collected. They start moving together. Suddenly they find each other. Like suddenly you see, EF on the right.
EF is
you
just
see
right
Visa,
there.
Like Lisa back on the left. Like everyone is getting ready to line themselves up. So if you didn't watch the stage, it finished on a uphill. And so it wasn't, as we mentioned, it wasn't a straight up sprint. And yeah, all the GC favorites made themselves like seen. Like the first time we saw all of them. And my biggest question is, with SD Worx, obviously they were getting Wiebes ready. But one rider I didn't see all day, it was Lotte Kopecky. Where was she all day? This was a perfect stage in my reading of it beforehand for her.
That is wild. Where did she even finish? I'm looking at the results right now.
I think the fact that it was an uphill finish is maybe what I was getting at. It allowed us to sort of like see it unfold more.
Yeah, she finished 58th place today.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting today, like with the GC favorites letting themselves be seen so early. I think because there were a fair amount of crashes, as there always are in an opening stage, they were all just trying to keep themselves safe. As we saw, Marlen Reusser, who has the worst luck in the peloton, or at least at the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, she got taken out in a silly corner, and she spent the rest of the day trying to get herself back with the teammate Arlena Sierra. And yeah, it's a bum for her to start off the tour already down by I don't know how many seconds, but yeah, down in the GC.
Yeah, and because it was, I guess, like a little nail biting because there were, a handful of these little crashes, but they, like you said, Rook, all of those GC contenders were so protected. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and also speaking of GC, Demi Vollering finishing third place puts her already 4 seconds up the rest of the competition. I mean, and then we have Kim Lecourt Pienaar, who finished second. She has 6 seconds over everybody else. I don't know, how well she'll fare in the GC competition, but not bad, right? Because 4 seconds could make a difference.
Hey, she was one of our. We were all in for Kim last year. Remember? Was she in yellow like 3 days, maybe? So that was cool to see her assert herself again this year because she had she's gone through some stuff. And yeah, just to wrap up the stage, I think Demi was Demi with like 700 meters to go. Kind of went for it.
She went early,
which was cool to see.
Here's what I love though. Like we're going into the final thing. I'm getting nauseous because I'm like, I can like feel the tension emanating from the screen. And you see at some point, like, the climb gets really strung out. There's only a handful of rides in the front. And all of a sudden you see Wiebes slot in. Like completely stealth mode, just like,
where did she come from?
Here. Where did she come from? And like everyone looks around and goes, oh, shoot. Because you know that if the fastest woman of the peloton is there, you have no chance. So Demi had to try something. You stay out of trouble by attacking and you give yourself a chance against an all-out sprinter like Wiebes.
Totally.
And I love that moment. She just like silently slotted on and like it was stalemate instantly because everyone's like, oh no, what do we do now? You're not going to take Wiebes to the line. And of course, Wiebes took her opportunity. And one thing that should be said about her for being such a dominant force and such an incredibly strong rider, she's also not the sprinter diva as you see so often. Traditionally, like stereotypically, sprinters have a bit of a personality. You think about, Cavendish or Sagan or, you think about personalities. Like to be that fearless, like it just takes a certain type. And Wiebes is not that. She's so soft-spoken, so humble. And I always love seeing her post-race interviews because she's just like, grateful for her team and very friendly and soft-spoken.
I think because of that, the other riders really respect her. Like, I don't feel a lot of like sprinter beef necessarily.
No, and there's no bullying like you see, like especially the US crit scene. There's so much beef and bullying, and you don't see any of that. Like she's just all in out, better and stronger, and
so good.
Yeah, and also what a great win for her after that disqualification at the Giro d'Italia Women. I know we keep talking about it, but it must feel so good for her to have won today.
Absolutely.
And tomorrow's a similar stage in length and profile. So, I mean,
I'll get more into that in a bit. I have some
to wrap it all
details.
up. Who's starting in what jerseys tomorrow? So we got in the green jersey. That's the points jersey.
That's Lorena Wiebes.
That will be Wiebes. No,
she'll be in yellow. So it'll be
the second person.
Kim Lecourt.
Kim Lecourt.
So for readers or listeners that don't know, when one person has multiple jerseys, the yellow jersey tends to trump all of them. So she will wear the yellow jersey, and the second place person in the other classification will wear that jersey. It's kind of like a bittersweet moment because you do get to start in a beautiful Tour de France jersey. Sometimes your sponsors will trick out your bike, but you don't really have it yet. Which can work two ways. Once it can be like, oh, I feel silly, or you can be like, this is the motivation I need to actually claim it outright next stage. So back to the jersey. So we're gonna add Lorena in green. We got Lecourt. Sorry, Lorena in yellow, Kim Lecourt in green, Océane Mahé in the polka dots, and Paula Blasi in white. So they'll be asked to start in front of the rest of the peloton tomorrow. You'll see them get a call up, and we'll see what the sponsors pull out in terms of fun little details on their bikes.
Yes, it will be interesting to see Océane Mahé's bike, the Ma Petite Entreprise rider, because they're sponsored by Factor. So Factor did a collaboration with SpongeBob SquarePants. So like the bike is customized with some SpongeBob SquarePants theme. So how are they going to add polka dots to that? Are they just going to swap bikes? Are they just gonna, I don't know, maybe draw polka dots on Patrick the Star or SpongeBob or something like that?
Yeah,
Should
that'll be
we
interesting.
use this moment as our segue to like the sort of off the bike news
Yes.
tea?
Let's do it.
Because
Yeah. Let's talk
I
about the
need to-
news roundup that happened today.
yeah, I need to understand this SpongeBob thing. I mean, I have so many questions. I don't even really know who SpongeBob
I have a theory.
is, but
Are we too old for SpongeBob? Because I missed that
No.
altogether.
Oh, you did?
No. Yeah, I missed it
like,
altogether.
No, I
I
watched
know-
SpongeBob.
I guess
But
I
also
don't know.
still
Like,
watch cartoons.
he's a sponge anyway? Is SpongeBob making like a comeback? Did they relaunch the show? Like, why
So, I don't
is
know
it
the
relevant
full-
again?
Yeah, I don't know the full story, but what I read was that Factor is doing this collab, kind of like EF did with Palace a few
Yeah.
years ago.
Okay.
Just something fun, bright, celebratory. Keep in mind that there's also mascots at the tour, right at the beginning and the race finish. There's kids. And my theory is that they're trying to have something that unifies millennials and Gen Z and the younger generation, that is also still watching SpongeBob SquarePants, that they're still putting episodes out. But I think it's just something fun, something that both the Gen Z writers and millennials and those teams can like laugh about and connect. But maybe not, because you guys haven't watched SpongeBob.
No, and I saw David Miller from Factor when they did the launch. He was saying like, bike racing is intimidating. The tour can feel intimidating. What's not intimidating? SpongeBob. And
Yeah.
so they tried to do something fun. And Human Powered Health is also on these bikes, as well as the Ma Petite Entreprise. So they're out there. To me, it was so random, and maybe that's because I completely missed the whole SpongeBob TV following or whatever. I didn't even know that was still on. It was something like my little sister watched when I was growing up. So it's like completely lost in me, and I don't understand the connection. And I just wish I could have seen the look on the riders' faces when they were told this or when they received the bikes. Like how many of them were like, "What?"
Yeah, and also
Right?
if you're from another country, maybe you watch SpongeBob in a different language. So that would have been really interesting to hear what SpongeBob is called, like in French. I have no idea. But I also do think that the aesthetic of the show, if you go and watch it, the aesthetic of the show does lend itself to do fun things like this. Because it's a wholesome show, really. And it's just like, the characters are really cute and well-intentioned, except for Mr. Krabs. He's a douche.
It's crabby.
Okay, we'll be Googling and
We'll learn more.
YouTubing. Yes.
So we talk about some other very notable changes to
Yeah.
the peloton today. Demi Vollering's team showed up today with new helmets on.
Hand delivered
hand-delivered.
by boat by American mountain bike phenom Kate Courtney, who is also now on that team.
And U.S. road champion. Amazing.
Yeah. So what's interesting, I think, like, yay, Red Bull is now officially in the women's peloton, the same way as they are in the men's peloton, not just with individual riders, but with an entire team. Also another specialized team that they sponsor on the men's side. The thing that I noticed from this is like, how interesting is it that sponsors have the pull to influence a rider roster? So Red Bull with Kate Courtney at FDJ, Heidi and Carolyn at Saint Michel with Scratch Lab, having been the impetus there, how they got on that roster, and same with Allie Jackson Cannondale. Cannondale made that connection with Saint Michel, so it's bringing this backroom dealings that we didn't really hear about in the past to the forefront, and being like, these sponsors have a lot of pull and they do potentially influence a rider roster.
Yeah, and I mean, at least in a good way so far, because I'm sure that could go in other directions as well. But yeah, this all looks very positive.
There was a lot of talk, though, not just in our community before this became public as well, about them choosing a already extremely well-funded team to support, whereas that money would have stretched a lot further for a less well-supported team. Thoughts on that?
Well, the thing is, they're looking to make an investment, right? So I don't know what their goals are, right? And when it comes to women's cycling, but FDJ is just a very attractive team. Like, somebody posted a question on team budgets and all that, and I just remember not long ago looking at FDJ on LinkedIn, for example. And out of many other professional teams that have a LinkedIn presence, I know like LinkedIn is like the new Facebook or whatever, but like their presence on LinkedIn is so professional, and like their website, like all their writers, their photos, the staff, the soigneurs, everybody has professional headshots. Like their bios are up to date and all that. So they look so professional. So if you're gonna do a big investment and you want to make sure that it's gonna work out, sometimes you just go for the safest, most popular option if you can
Yeah,
Yeah, I
afford
was
it.
gonna say it's not just the staff. I think very like blatantly, it's the star power of Demi Vollering and
Mhm.
that team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't see Red Bull as like a type of savior sponsor that would choose, Ma Petite Enterprise to
Yeah.
make their splash in the
But
they
credit where credit is due. I think a lot of the women's cross country mountain biking got so many eyeballs on it because of Red Bull and Red
Mm.
Bull funding the streaming for so long. So there is that.
I mean, it was fun to watch this whole Kate Courtney thing unfold because, I think a lot of us knew after she won road nationals, like, okay, she's got a plan. She's on a mission. She's going to the world tour. What team will it be? And I had like really fun conversations with a lot of people like, well, okay, she rides Allied bikes. They're not so scratch that. Like, what bike would Kate ride? Or like what team?
Mhm.
Okay, what are the American teams in the world tour? Could we see her going to human powered health? Not really. Yeah. And it was like, what makes sense? And then I think it was someone in our chat who mentioned the Red Bull FDJ thing. And then it was like, there we go.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
there's
Yeah, and
this.
also I think it's really cool that Kate, she's not obviously racing, but she is in France and she was there for the Grand Depart. And I'm hoping that she's also on the side of the road and seeing how the race is happening, because she does have, today's stage made me realize that a rider like her has a lot to learn about stage racing and all that. And this we can segue into
Bottles.
bottle dropping. Because we did see that today, and this writer is probably gonna get roasted online for something that happens so often, and you just have, it's really difficult to learn how to grab a bottle from a soigneur or staff member on the side of the road. And we saw, I forget what team it was, but this writer dropped 3 consecutive bottles. But hey, it just happens, and those silly things, people really need to practice them. It's not just like VO2 max workouts and climbing and all that. There's so many little things that you need to practice. And isn't like Kate Courtney also like realizing that she has to practice those things?
Yeah,
She
100%.
she just said that in an interview. She's like, I'm not, someone asked her, what her goals were or something, or what races. And she's like, honestly, I need to learn how to like take bottles and move in the pack and like,
Mhm.
all the stuff that you don't do as a mountain biker.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, can I just from the get-go say these things happen in men's cycling as well.
Mhm.
Men riders crash, men riders drop bottles. This
bottles.
is not a gendered issue. I'm just going to say that straight
Yeah,
off the bat.
thank
I don't
you.
want to answer those questions. I hate when I see that, like, oh, there's a lot of crashes in women's cycling. Yeah, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
crashes in men's cycling. It happens.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, bottle grabbing bottles is a skill set. There's so many eyeballs on this race. The tension is 10 times higher than any other race. You're tired, you're stressed, you're gonna drop a bottle, and it's no big deal. It happens. Hopefully you get a rider on your team to give you a bottle and you're good to go. I've been in a feed zone before at this very race, and it is total chaos. Like, yeah, there's so many people coming in at once. You have this one opportunity to grab nutrition, which on a day like today is paramount because it's hot and humid and you need to get in as much as you can. So it happens, and I'm sorry that rider is going to be all over social media today for dropping those bottles.
I know. She was so frustrated. Like, after I don't know if it was the second one, she was just like, God, like, probably
Yeah.
both because, yes, she needs the bottle, but also like, damn it, like, I didn't stick that. Like, why,
Yeah.
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 But it happens. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Moving
Move
on to
on.
the final news of the morning, which
Mhm.
was, I mean, not the final news, but the big one I'm going to address here. And that is the Ventoux stage may be in danger. As
God.
many people know, Europe is on fire right now. Wildfires are spreading throughout Europe. And there could be a scenario in which we don't get a Ventoux stage. Marlen Reusser, the race director, has already said that they're exploring several options for an alternative to that stage, which would be such like just an absolute bummer if we miss out on that stage. Of course, you know, they have to make their choices, not just in terms of safety for the riders, but for the whole region, and also to be respectful of the resources that the country is currently dealing with, much bigger issues than a bike race, and they need to do what they need to do to keep their people safe.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also the nature safe, you know, all the animals who live in the forest and all the beautiful trees and everything. Yeah, they'll just have to make the right decision. And yeah, maybe it could add some excitement to the race because it can make it again more unpredictable. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Now, moving on to our new little techie segment called What Tire Won Today's Race, presented by Bike Tires Direct. I did some sleuthing. Today's winner was Lorena Wiebes. She rides for SD Worx, which is a Specialized sponsored team. And so she was very likely on the Specialized Cotton Tubeless Ready tire. So that's the tire that won today's stage. If you're looking for new tires, visit our sponsor, Bike Tires Direct.
And do you know the width that she may have been riding today?
I don't.
Yeah,
you know,
what will
maybe,
you ride on a stage like today?
I mean, I've gone full in on the wider is better, so probably, you know, a 30,
Yeah,
Wow.
makes
maybe
sense.
28. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, a
if they're
wider is
fast
more
rolling, I
aero.
would be on a 30. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so should we do a deep dive?
Jump in, Rosael.
Yeah, so today's deep dive is on the Ma Petite Entreprise rider, Océane Mahé, which is what a beautiful name, right? I think Betsy pointed that out
Yeah.
on the WhatsApp, but it is a beautiful name. But yeah, here are some of the basics about Océane Mahé. She was born February 12 of 2002. She's a 24-year-old French rider, and she's currently riding for Ma Petite Entreprise. And before that, she was riding for Arkea B&B Hotels. And she actually comes from tennis, so she's a bit of a late bloomer in cycling. And yeah, she spent 12 years playing tennis.
Wow.
Not a
as a
usual crossover.
Yeah,
Two
yeah,
very
not
different
very
sports.
different, right? Yeah, I wonder if she always was a fan of like either cycling or running or just doing something for the endurance side of things. But basically, as a cyclist, she specializes as a climber and time trialist, which explains why she did so well today and her eagerness to jump into the breakaway and take the QOM, the Queen of the Mountain points in those climbs. And let's see some career highlights from May. She won the under 23 French National Road Race Championship in 2023 after a long solo breakaway. Then she won the time trial championship in 2024. And she has also secured strong top 5 GC finishes at stage races like Volta Extremadura Femenina. And she's not just a powerhouse, she's also a very studious person. She has been balancing the training and racing schedule while pursuing a degree in engineering. And her ultimate goal is that she would like to become engineer in bicycles.
Cool.
So yeah, that'll be pretty cool to see that. More
Super
women
cool.
in the cycling industry.
She was on that Arkea B&B Hotels
Yeah.
rest in peace team. Cool. We love this, right? We love these early stages when these names, like last year was it Mavis Guibin? Like, wasn't she sort of one of the ones where we were
Yeah.
just like, oh my God, like who is she? How do we not know her? And now we love her. And it's fun to think that this could be Océane's breakout ride.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
no,
Tour de
pretty
France
cool.
Femme.
I mean, yeah, this the honor of wearing the polka dots
Yeah.
tomorrow. It's so
It's
cool.
huge.
It's so huge for a team like that. Absolutely. So yeah, congrats, Maya. That was a tremendous performance, and you did
Yeah.
not just like your
so-
team, but I think entire France proud.
Yes, very, very good performance from her. And Rook, we got some questions in the WhatsApp. Should we read some of them and answer them?
Let's go for it.
Let's see. All right, so somebody asked if we could talk about the various roles of riders within the teams and what that looks like out in different types of days. So basically, when you are putting together a roster, a team for a grand tour like this, you're looking at the profile of every stage and it's trying to balance out like a good roster where you have sprinters, all-around riders, climbers, and a leader. Sometimes you also have a road captain. The road captain can be the GC leader. The team is setting up for the win, but it's not always the case. Sometimes you have the road captain can be a rider who is just the most experienced in the team. And yeah, for a race like this one, I guess you're bringing a good time trialist. So basically, a time trialist is just somebody who has a good resume of getting very good results in time trials, who can put the power down in flat sections in short races. You have climbers who tend to be lighter riders who can just climb really well. Though there are also riders who are not as lean who also climb really well. So I don't want to like box them into just one body type. And then we have the sprinters, like we saw Lorena Wiebes today, and other sprinters sprinters can also be all-rounders, like we see with Lotte Kopecky. And also like really Lorena Wiebes, after surviving those crazy 2 climbs at the end to beat Lecourt and Vollering, that was pretty impressive. Yeah, so basically the leader, you're protecting the leader so they can finish the race and, get as high as possible in the general classification. And a lot of the riders in the team are also going to play the role of domestique. And this could be lesser known riders who are just starting out. It could also be, sometimes we call them super domestiques when we see people like Marianne Vos they go back to the team car, they grab the musette with bottles and ice socks and that kind of thing. And they'll go through the peloton and bring it and hand those things to the riders. Did I cover everything there?
Yeah, I think the most important thing to note about cycling is that cycling is a team sport. Yeah, you're going to see one rider get the credit for the win, like today we saw Wiebes, but it takes all the other 6 riders as well to sacrifice their own chances to make this happen. As Wiebes very gracefully said in the post-race interview, she won the stage because she's such a great sprinter, but for her to even get into a position where she could sprint and show her skill, it took help from her teammates. Bredewold was there, and then she even mentioned Anne van der Breggen. So Anne van der Breggen is their team leader, their GC rider, who they want the overall race with, still went to the front and helped position Lorena Wiebes into the slot so she can sprint. So I think what's important to know is that everyone has a role. Every stage might be different what their role is. But in a role like today, their assignment was like, bring Lorena Wiebes to the front at the end of the stage so she can do her thing. So then everyone makes sure that Lorena is safe throughout the race, that she gets over the top of all the climbs, and that, they'll get her bottles, they'll get her food, they'll make sure that she doesn't miss the break and that she's in a position to do her thing. And this changes depending on the stage. So today was a flat-ish with some roller stage for her. In the mountains, there will be the domestiques, the helpers who specialize in climbing, and they will help out Anne van der Breggen in an ideal situation.
Yeah, exactly.
We've had a lot more questions, but we're just going to cover a few of them. But if you have questions, do find us on WhatsApp, and we will answer them in a podcast in the next few days. So another question we had is, what is the funding discrepancy between a top-tier team like Visma Leasebike and FDJ Suez and a team like Ma Petite Entreprise? Well, I pulled up some numbers for this because there is huge discrepancy. So according to the UCI, the average women's World Tour team now operates with a budget of 5.7 million euros, which it doesn't that's the average. So like top tier teams will have closer to 8 to 10 million a year, while the average World Tour Pro team, or like what used to be called the Conti teams, like Ma Petite Entreprise and smaller, have a budget around 1.9 million. So that means the average World Tour team has roughly 3 times the budget of a pro team, with the giants like, Visma and FDJ around 8 times the amount of resources. So this affects everything, like rider salaries, support to the staff, altitude camps, nutrition, equipment, and simply having enough riders to get through a 3-week race like this one. So yeah, that's a huge discrepancy.
Yeah, and can you mention like an example of what do those differences look like in a stage? I think maybe on the interview you did with Heidi, she talked a little bit about it. Like now she's in a team where she only has to worry about bringing her kit and her shoes, but she has a staff that helps her, put everything together.
Yeah, like in a top tier team, you focus on yourself as a rider. Make sure you're there. You have your shoes and your helmet and your kit, and everything else will be taken care of you. You arrive at the bus. There is a bus, and
I
everything
was
will
gonna
be.
say that.
Yeah, there's a bus for you to be on, and someone else will make sure that you're fed. Someone else will make sure you are going to sleep extremely comfortably and well that night. Someone else is washing your clothing, pinning on your numbers if you want. Like everyone is doing all the other small things, which don't seem like a lot, but those are all stressors. If you have to think about, do I have my numbers? What am I going to eat? Am I getting enough calories in? Like if you're having to do all that stuff yourself, that's a mental load that ultimately does affect your performance.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's really, I don't know if it's cool, but it's really interesting that we are at a moment in time in women's cycling where there are a lot of women in the peloton, like, a Voss, Longo Borghini, Anna Vantabregga. Like these women all have come from, they all know what it's like to race without a bus. They all know what it's like to have other jobs. Like, they used to be in vans and cars and
Yeah, you'd
these,
sit on little fold-out chairs outside of an RV at a stage, and you were washing your own kit at night.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
like you
these,
didn't have a new kit every day, so like if you crash one day, you're riding in a torn kit the next day. Yeah.
right. And these younger racers, like, thank God, are not having to experience that. Although, yes, there is a huge budget discrepancy. At least the bar continues to rise. It still has a long way to go. But yeah, I mean, the stories that some of these veterans in the peloton have, we've all spoken to them about, like the early days of women's pro racing. I mean, if you and shoot, as a fan too, like we couldn't even watch these races. We used to have to cover this stuff from Twitter. Yep.
Yeah, or watch it on a sketchy link with no audio. Like you're just watching a race happen, and you're like, okay, I guess I'm just paying.
You're just listening
very
to
close
the
attention.
motos. I remember that, just like the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Final question that we're going to address from WhatsApp today, and that is, what was going on with the sprint points? The breakaway riders, there were 4 riders in the breakaway. They went for the QM points. They didn't go for the sprint points. What was up with that? It's called a gentleman's agreement, and I'm just going to redub it as a gentle ladies agreement. If you're all working together, and you have a long way to go, as they did, it is nice to play nice and just, if you happen to be in the front, you get to have those points rather than attacking each other that early on, creating animosity and like just not playing very nice. It's in your best interest to work together nicely, and they were hoping to stay away, obviously, for today's stage. So for their success, the best chance at succeeding at today's stage, they had to work together and stay friendly. So it was early enough in the breakaway that they weren't going to contest and fight each other for those points. Also, there's a ton of points at the finish, so they knew that if it had come down to a sprint between them, that's where you would have made the difference.
Were they chatting? Did you guys notice? Were those 4 talking at all?
I didn't notice them chatting, but I'm assuming they weren't chatting, but they were definitely signaling and communicating.
Yeah.
In terms of race strategy. With these races, it's interesting too, because there's these really big teams and really small teams. They may not know each other as well, and they're all following to what's coming through their ears, right? They're trying to a certain degree adhere to the team plan, but in that case, the reason they weren't going for the sprint points was just a gentle ladies agreement.
Yeah. Something that came up in the pre-race interviews is this question that many people ask, and for some reason, a lot of people will ask journalists about it and ask us, how long should a Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift be? And they posed this question to Alison Jackson. Because for me, the answer has always been, it's up to the riders, right? Like the riders are the ones who are having this experience. They know what's sustainable. They know what will be nice. And they asked Alison Jackson, and she said 12 days. So she would like 12 days with 1 rest day and like plenty of variety of stages. So, that's something that I feel like the tour could grow into in the coming years. That seems plausible.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Rosael, do you want to keep talking and give us a little preview for tomorrow's stage?
It will be my pleasure. Because tomorrow's stage, I don't think the ending will be as insane as we saw today. Because today just felt like, oh my God, how is this going to finish? I thought this was a flat stage, but this is really steep, whatever. And so while today's stage 1 carried a flat label, despite the deceptive finish, stage 2 should be a truer opportunity for the pure sprinters, despite actually having a little bit more elevation on the menu. So the route packs 1,800 meters of total climbing. That's 100 meters more than today's stage. But I think the main difference is the placement of where the climbs are, because the bulk of tomorrow's stage comes early. Those 2 ascents are early, leaving for a long, flat run into the finish in Geneva, where today we had like the climbing came later, and we thought that more sprinters would make it to the line, but I think they came much later and they did not have the time to recover. So I think tomorrow we won't see that. So the sprinters should have a better chance. This means that we should expect teams they will still be launching early breakaways like we saw today. We're going to see another battle for the Queen of the Mountain points. And, riders also getting their television time in those early climbs. But with a flat finish at the end, the sprinter-heavy teams like SD Worx Protime will definitely be protecting Lorena Wiebes' yellow jersey. And my prediction is that Lorena Wiebes defends and takes it again. What do you guys think? Any favorites?
I mean,
Hard
is there
not
anyone?
to, yeah.
But let's see, like who could bring it on,
We'd love a Voss. We'd love a Voss.
Yes, you
challenge.
see, that's a good one.
Yeah. I expected her to be slightly further up today. As we were sending the climb, we saw PFP obviously, but Voss was a little ways behind.
Yeah, hopefully we see Elisa Balsamo.
I was just gonna say, I want that Balsamo Wiebes showdown. 2 years ago we got a little bit of the Charlotte Cole and Wiebes sprinter showdown. Charlotte Cole obviously got the intermediate sprint points from the chase group today, but just doesn't have the climbing capacity that Wiebes has to make it. But maybe tomorrow, since the climbs are early, we can see a true sprinter showdown and see Cole and Balsamo and maybe a Rüegg. Like, just see the fastest ladies in the peloton duke it out, because as much as we all love Wiebes, it's nice to see competition.
Yeah, definitely. Betsy, do you have any predictions for tomorrow?
Not really. It is exciting to me to think, like you mentioned, there could be another sort of breakaway situation like today, and that could very well be 4 riders who we didn't even talk about. It could be a totally different group of women, which again I love in these early stages. So I'd like to see that. It certainly gives us something to talk about, and we could have someone else from Volker Wessels up there. Maybe someone from that Saint Auberge or Saint Michel team. That would be fun. And then for the win, as discussed, hard not to say it's going to be Wiebes, which, again, the cool thing about Wiebes is we'd be psyched because she's she's so goated and awesome. And it would be fun to see like a real duke it out between another sprinter or 2 and her.
Looking slightly ahead, how much do you think this weather, like watching today's stage, the attrition was way more than I expected. Like watching some really strong riders struggle up that climb. Was this weather related? Was it because the air quality wasn't ideal? Like, how much do you think that is going to impact the racing going forward? And with that in mind, time cuts, how much are they going to be a factor in this race?
Yeah, I don't know. Today we only had one person not finish the race, and it was a UNOX rider. And I think it was because of one of those crashes.
Yeah.
I also hope to see fewer crashes tomorrow. I think the peloton needs to get the memo of like we need to like ride a little bit faster, like keep a more steady, fast pace, especially in those wider roads, to make sure we're not having crashes that could be avoided.
like you said, Rook, like those crashes often tend to happen in those slower moments, the more boring stretches of a stage. People just, they maybe just they take their guard down a little bit.
Yeah, they're just inattentive for a hot
Yeah.
second, and
Yeah.
little mistakes are being made. I'm not one to tell anyone to ride faster, but in
Yeah, well,
those
I
moments,
guess
it
I
does
meant,
do this.
yeah, I guess I meant that. I mean, obviously, I'm not there. There are times where they just need to slow down for the feed zones and this and that. I just know that a more stretched out peloton is just safer because there's less wheels
100%.
overlapping. And we consistently saw those crashes happening in those situations where it was just so many wheels taking the full width of the road.
That reminds me, I did have one shout out I wanted to give because the medic car, which there was one point, like one of the earlier crashes, where I think it was Christina Schweinberger.
Yeah.
She was literally getting wound care, like riding alongside the medical car. Like the doctor was wrapping her arm or something, which I have a background as a nurse too. Like it's just really badass to see that both the driver, the doctor, and the rider being able to do that like in action. Also in that car there's this OG legend doctor, Florence Pommier. She's been with the men's tour for a decade and now women's tour. I think she's a medic at the Dakar Rally motorcycle race. Like just shout out to the
Yeah,
the
no, I love
medical
these
folks.
nuggets. But on that note of health, and to go back to Rook's question, because I think the commentators were also discussing this, and we know we had a big break between the Giro d'Italia and the Women's Tour de France. So we don't know what the form of a lot of riders is, but something interesting that maybe both of you can give some light to is that it is crazy that when athletes are at the top form, it is also when they can most likely get sick. Can you explain a little bit why that is for people
Yeah.
who may not know? Like, why is it that when you're the best, the fastest, like climbing super well, you may catch a cold?
It's because you've been training, and like short. It's because you've been training really, really hard, and you're suppressing your immune system in the process. They're at their absolute leanest, and I know that's always a point of contention, but it's just the fact they are going to be at their absolute leanest and most optimized bodies, and their bodies are under a lot of stress, and so they are more susceptible to just colds and other common infections. And you often will see GC favorites opt for a mask, especially in this post-COVID era, that they just trying to protect themselves, because every tour, men's and women's, there's always a bug that goes through the peloton. And it's just because their immunity systems are just suppressed a little bit.
Yeah, on top of like
And
all the germs that you'll catch when you're flying and all
yeah,
that stuff, right?
I was just
Exactly, to
gonna
travel.
say, you often hear stress is stress. So it can be physical stress. It's the stress of travel. It's the stress of maybe you're not sleeping that well. You're mentally stressed. So all of that is just putting you at a sort of weakened state.
Absolutely. All right,
Yeah.
on that note, let's wrap it up, shall we?
Yeah.
Yes,
All
let's do
right.
it.
So this wraps up our coverage of Stage 1 here on the Queen Stage. A massive thank you to our presenting sponsors, Bike Tires Direct and SRAM. Their genuine commitment to advancing women's cycling is what allows us to deliver these podcasts daily.
Yeah, that is right. And don't forget to enter today's giveaway on our Instagram before tomorrow's stage starts. Just comment, find the post first that is the highlight of stage 1, and comment Bike Tires Direct and tag 2 friends to be in the race for winning one of these new sets.
Cool. I want one. Yeah, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our riveting race recaps, and join us on WhatsApp. Keep the questions coming. It's been really, really fun to hang out there. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you tomorrow after stage 2.
Yes. Okay.
Woo!